It's a natural, you know, that's really what you have to be doing when you're improvising, is connecting the mind and the fingers in one simple movement. So it's not that you have to think, oh my God, I'm singing this and I'm trying to play this, and it's the same thing, you know. It's really allowing your imagination to control everything that you do, even though it might not be the best thing you ever played, you know, to think of it in that kind of connected way and not separate, you know. In fact, the more you play as a musician, I think you shorten the time between thought and execution. The speed of thought and execution gets smaller and smaller until you're really able to play anything that you hear. That's where everybody wants to get to, I think, as an improviser. And it's not something that's going to take your whole life or anything. Otherwise, you know, that would be so long, you'd starve to death in the process, you know. But it's really allowing yourself to get to that place. Knowledge of harmony, and, you know, they work within quite a narrow genre of essentially kind of blues licks on the minor pentatonic. But the rhythmic part of it is what brings it to life, you know. I mean, for instance, any guitar players here, I don't know whether they've ever analysed a B.B. King guitar solo. It's absolutely incredible because it's so simple what this guy plays. I mean, you'll start off on a shuffle blues and they'll go something like that, you know, there's nothing happening, you know, but then he'll put in some there's nothing going on, but the thing is chugging along. You know, he's quite happy. So the guy who told me don't stop was wrong. You know, it takes a lot of courage to actually not fill every space, but to leave and, you know, play a phrase and then leave a little gap to when you know you should play something else. But that's a kind of more advanced technique, you know. But it's the idea of really not feeling that you have to be flying around to be interesting. I think the blues guys are wonderful at demonstrating how simple music can be wonderfully effective. You know, I lived in New York for a couple of years in the 70s. I'm not going to talk all day, by the way, but I'm just going to finish up this little thing. I lived in New York in the 70s for a couple of years, and there were some great guitar players. There was always great guitar. Late, that becomes a kind of a little bit of a treadmill. You know, just playing music that has a constant backbeat, for instance, I now find a little less interesting than something that is not so formulated, where the drummer is really playing anything he feels like. And in fact, what I'm talking about essentially is a more interactive kind of music, where no matter however many people are playing, whether it's 3 or 4, you're playing and interacting to each other. I think it's more interesting music for the audience as well as for the musicians. But you work your way through to these things, going through whatever it is that initially inspires you to be a musician. You have to follow your feelings as they develop. So, does any of that make any sense to anyone? Yeah. I sit here sometimes wondering what I'm on about. What's he on about? There's a Horace Silver tune, Scales. I mean, it's a cure for insomnia, that stuff, you know. I mean, what you really have to think about is just little melodic phrases. You know, you're not going to be dazzling, you're not going to be flying around the instrument. You might get there someday, but the idea is to really think in simple melodic phrases. Like that last tune I played there. Because the chords are moving, you've got that. That's in the chord, right? Now that gives you a lot of colour right there. Just by playing one note. Sorry. Just playing just one note against those chords works great. So it's not like you have to be going, you know, flying around and dazzling everyone. You can dazzle with 1 or 2 notes. That's why I did that singing, that scatting thing, you know. Play the chords and sing or whistle something, you know. You know, think of just little simple phrases where you can connect up with the chords. Don't feel like you have to be, you know, and all that stuff, you know. That's